Today I'm going to show you how I built my fully custom joystick, my F1 pedal system, and my fully printed carbon fiber seat for my 3D printed plane. That's a mouthful, so let me show you how I did it.
I'm just waiting for the doctor so they can put me to sleep.
First, let's start off with the controller. Now, initially, I wanted this to be like an F1 car driving it. And so I designed a steering wheel at first. Just doesn't make sense because it would constantly hit my legs. So instead of an F1 wheel, I decided to just make my own joystick. Now, there's a lot of joysticks online and they cost hundreds of dollars, sometimes $1,000 for a joystick. And then there's free CAD files online where you can download a joystick, but those were just bad. So I wanted something that looked futuristic like my plane. So I was like, okay, I'll just design my own joystick. And then I came up with this starting design and it didn't quite fit my hand. So then I just decided, okay, well, I'm gonna start making a little more adjustments. So I put 2 and 2 together and I got this. Yeah, I should have printed it in a different color. I get it, it looks like a dig. But there was a couple problems. First, I did fix the grip. So the grip is now much better on here. It actually fits my hand perfectly. But there was a small issue right here where my finger would just gradually just touch this. I didn't like that. So I went and redesigned a bit more of it. So then I printed this one. Now this one has some new design changes to it. First, I have this top rim here. So if the joystick falls on the ground, it's not going to smash the screen. It's actually going to be protected by this top layer here. And so it will fall on his face and it will be protected. Second off, I wanted something that I can interchange grips. So let's say I wanted a leather grip, or let's say I wanted a suede grip. So I made this insert that goes right here. All you have to do is put this insert like this and it hooks onto here. And then it also screws on with tiny little screws on the back, but you can change it out from leather to suede to whatever material. If you want grip tape, if you want something else, you can change out the grip. So on this one, you can see that there's no back cut where you can't really wire up all the electronics. So that's why this one's cut out. It also has tabs here so you can screw down the LCD screen and you can remove it and change it or update it whenever you need to. Next, I did a quick release on the bottom. So this controller will actually connect into the joystick mount and you can quick release it and move it around, take it with you so nobody can just fly your plane out and steal your plane. So from this iteration, I moved on to my final iteration. But first, let's talk about all the electronics I put in this. First, it's an AMOLED display from Waveshare. It's a 1.75 screen. Then I put 5 LED buttons and wired them all up. All the components for this entire joystick cost around $40, including the screen, the print, and all the buttons and wires. So it's a pretty cheap controller, but it's super premium. Then I started wiring up the display and custom coded everything for it, from the display, the logo, how it looks, how it feels, so it has everything that I need for my flight. Speaking of features, here are some of the things I've added to the display. At the very top, you can see the fuel or battery level, whatever you decide. At the bottom, you can see your different pedal pressures. So on the left, you can see your left pedal. On the right, you can see your right pedal. There's also a button for a light for the plane. So when you press it, you can turn on and off the light of the plane. When you swipe left over, you can see your speed, altitude, and your angle. It will give you warnings for all those systems if you're over or under. Then if you swipe up, you can go to Spotify, because why not? If you swipe down, you can go to a touchpad that Bluetooths into the Anduril Eagle Eye that I built myself. Check out that video after this one. Even though the glue looks a little messy, I meticulously soldered on every single wire to make sure that they are secure, but I just wanted extra glue to make sure it doesn't come out. All right, so let's screw this in and show you the final product. So after several different prototypes, I came up with this. This is the final product. It's got the whole back screwed on. It's got the full grip, the back grip with the screws on it. It's got the buttons working, everything as it should. Now, there was a lot of little things here, like the bottom part here. I kept that open because obviously I can change out different designs, different mounts, and so I don't have to rebuild the controller every single time. So I have this wire coming out of it, and this will actually screw into the seat. I have a mounting point in the seat where this will go, match up with all the electronics and the entire plane. And as you can see here, it's an AMOLED screen. It actually looks really nice. It's touch screen, it's ESP32. It's super easy. I can work with it on a bunch of different ways. I have ESP now into it. Let's get into the pedals. So next up, let's get into the pedal system. Again, there was sim racing pedals, there was 3D printed ones, files for them. They weren't fitting my vibe, they were costing a bit much. There's no reason why these should cost so much. And then I ultimately bought this shock for them, and I was gonna build my own pedal system using this shock. You know, there's a lot that can go wrong with this. I mean, it is from AliExpress, so I couldn't imagine this is gonna last long. So at first I was going to go with more like a traditional style brake and gas pedal setup where I can put the shock right here. And then I made adjustment points so I can adjust it, and it just kind of looked boring and old. I wanted something that was kind of like sleek, but also that was really strong, that worked, that felt like an actual gas and brake pedal, but also could be adjustable, but also could be strong, dependable. Plier grips, the spring and plier grips. Okay, well, I'm just gonna use a plier grip spring. I mean, how many times do people use the plier grip springs and go back and forth with it? Now, what if I just keep adding them? Would that make it stronger? And could I adjust the different points on it to make it actually give a better pedal feel? So I actually just bought a bunch of them, and then I came up with this one. This is pretty strong as is, like it's flexible. I just kept putting more until I came up with this right here. There's 3 of them in each one. They actually got some nice spring to them. They always go back to the position. They're extremely cheap to make. They're extremely cheap to replace, so I can replace them. I can knock out the pin on them. So in order to make this pedal stronger, I had to change a couple of things. First, this was a little thin right here. I felt like over time it could break. There was just a little flex where it didn't need to be. I needed to print this in a different orientation and change a couple of things. Then I came up with this. This is a little thicker all around. It's got 3 pins right here, pins to hold it down. It also has this top part that screws off. So you can make this carbon fiber, metal, whatever it is. And also, even to add extra strength and make sure the pedal doesn't break, at the top here, there is a place where you can put a stainless steel rod that actually will keep it strong and safe so it doesn't snap in half. And even the top pad is printed in a different orientation, so it should be strong enough. If it breaks, then I don't know what I did wrong. But I made sure that they're really strong. Like I can't even flex it, pushing it as hard as possible with my hands. It's for safety, so that's why I made it as strong as possible, so even vibrations and everything won't break it. I'm gonna show you how to build the F1 pedal system that I designed. First, I started off with a couple prototypes here, and I used a shock, but it felt kind of heavy and I just didn't feel like the right pedal. So I wanted to go and redesign some things, and this is where I came up with this system right here. This is printed in ASA carbon fiber. It's like it doesn't bend. It doesn't bend. It's super strong. It's lightweight, but I wanted to add some reinforcement to it. I made it so you can insert a stainless steel rod in here, and then it will be actually like super strong. Now I also printed this. This is the base plate for it. This is also printed in ASA carbon fiber. This is extremely strong. I don't think any of this will break. Now, that's a lot to ask for. It seems like a lot of parts here, but actually is not. This whole setup, this whole brake system that you can connect to a computer or to a flight controller or anything really cost around less than $15 in total, because these each cost a couple bucks to make. The ASA carbon fiber is quite cheap and it is a small part. These bolts are just standard bolts because I wanted to make it easy, so if someone wanted to replicate it, they could do it really easily. So what I've done here is I've drilled a hole inside this bolt and then stuck the magnet in here and then filled with epoxy. Then it goes inside the pedal assembly. When I spin it like this, it will read on the rotary encoder and give me that output. So then I cut down the metal here. It is flat, which fits in my pedal. And so when I push onto it, it changes like this. And then I have the backing screws right here. And so I will screw these down into it as well, so it's definitely a tight fit, so there's no looseness, that when adjusting the pedal, it is accurate. And then we have these things. These actually measure the twisting with a magnet. These are really cheap. These are like $1 a piece. And what happens is you take these magnets, and as the magnets rotate, it will change parameters on this, the ESP32, and it will tell you where the pedal position is at. It will reset it every time it's at 0. And then we have obviously some inserts here. These cost only a couple of cents a piece. These are some threaded inserts, so everything stays secure. Okay, so just in case you're lost and you don't know what I'm talking about, because I'm throwing all these numbers around, let me break it down for you simply. First, I have the joystick. It's made out of ASA carbon fiber, 3D printed. There's 5 buttons on it. They're very simple. You can get them on AliExpress. Then I have a 1.75 AMOLED ESP32 screen from Waveshare. Very basic. It costs about 30 bucks. It's simple. So all those parts together are probably like $40 maybe. And then this pedal system has an AS5600, 2 of them. It's got a couple bolts running through it, magnets, because these are rotary encoders that when the magnet spins just a little bit or full spin, you could see it on the computer. You can translate that signal that's going into the ESP32S3 inside the pedal system that then will send a signal out through a wire to a flight controller or different computer. And I also have that signal through ESP Now, which is a wireless signal that communicates with two different ESP32s wirelessly, and the signal position of each pedal and brake, or gas pedal and gas pedal, whatever I choose, it will show on my joystick. Does that make any sense to you? Good. If it doesn't, you could figure it out. So let's get into the final thing, and that's the carbon fiber seat. I wanted an F1 style carbon fiber seat, but I don't know how to do carbon fiber. I don't know how to make seats. And so I went to my iPhone. Now, in order to get an F1 style seating position, I can't just think about what's gonna work for my body, because obviously that's not gonna translate. I have to one-shot this whole plane. I have to one-shot the entire seat. I don't got an unlimited budget. I don't got unlimited time to just do all this. So I went to the next best thing. I don't have a 3D scanner, but what I do have is an iPhone 14 Pro Max, and all I needed was to scan my body. What I did here is using an app called Scaniverse, and it's free, and you can scan your body or scan whatever object. I use it a lot, actually. You can export that as an OBJ file, which then you can put into CAD or whatever program, and then you can design around it. So you don't need these $5,000 3D scanners. You don't need to do all this stuff, bring it to a shop. You can just do it with your iPhone and making a couple of first prototypes to see, and then you can change it after to get better tolerances. So what I did was I actually scanned my body. I mean, it's good enough. It's good enough for what you need. I don't know what happened to my hair or my face. I look like one of those mouse minion things. I don't know what the hell they're called. And then I just put it into CAD, export it as an OBJ. Simple as that. I mean, how easy is this stuff? It's so easy. Okay, so let's start with the build. So I designed a seat around me. The problem here is you can't just print a full seat out on a 3D printer. That's not gonna work unless you got a big industrial 3D printer, and even then, I don't think it's gonna work. It's gonna be heavy if you 3D print an entire seat. So I had to do a couple things. First, I had to make the seat thin. I made it about 2 millimeters, I believe, thin. That will give me the basic shape of the seat. Then I had to chop the seat up in 300 by 300 millimeter squares for my 3D printer. So after I sliced up the seat in 300 by 300 millimeter sections, I started printing it off. After all the pieces are done, I could start assembling it. So what I did was I used metal tacks that basically melt metal together and combine it with these little metal things. I don't know what it's called. It's like metal welding or something, but for plastic. Then I ran epoxy between the creases, and it was a bunch of metal tacks and epoxy until I got the shape of the seat I wanted. Now, obviously, this is not gonna hold my body. That shit would just break off and explode into a million pieces if I sat on it. So I had to layer in carbon fiber. First, I started sticking forged carbon fiber in all the cracks around the whole seat, because obviously those are the fragile points. So I had to sand around, put forged carbon fiber around it, and also do it on the bottom side so it's strong on both sides. Next, I had to start layering a sheet of carbon fiber in the inside. Now, this was kind of difficult because I've never done carbon fiber work before, or at least to this magnitude. I don't even want to do the vacuum sealing. People are gonna say in the comments, you should do vacuum sealing. Bro, I don't know how to do that. I don't wanna do that. I don't care about doing that. I hate carbon fibering.
So I just layered this with carbon fiber. Now I actually just use this to stick on it. It's this composite adhesive. Now I'm gonna use the epoxy. I'm gonna mix this. This is a 100 by 35 part. And here, then I have this peel ply that I'm gonna stick on it. So, Paul from Easy Composites.
Hi, I'm Paul from Easy Composites.
I'm sorry if this looks like the worst job in the world. I didn't follow your YouTube channel. I skipped a lot of the parts. So 8 hours later, this should be dry. It looks kind of okay, but it kind of looks like a mummy.
Final story, I just wanna wet lay this, and I wanna put some maxi pad material all over it, and when it's dry, I wanna rip it off, sand it, and then it should be good, right? No. I actually had to do that like 50 times on both sides. So the seat came out to about 6 or 7 pounds, which is not that heavy. And it's actually strong because all the places that I'm actually putting weight on, I put extra layers of carbon fiber inside. So like the side bolsters, the area where the seatbelt hooks, the part where I sit, the back posture area, the back lumbar support, everywhere is kind of like where I'm putting the extra carbon fiber. So it's still lightweight, but it's also strong in the areas that it needs to be strong. And the areas that doesn't still get a layer of carbon fiber. So I have it cut out exactly where the joystick's going to be, right between my legs. And that's actually going to face me so I can actually adjust things on it. So after all said and done, after all the sanding, the tack, the welding, whatever, plastic melting, the fumes, cancer that I probably got from this, and the full seat, joystick, and pedals are done, but there is so much left to do. And yes, you could start building your Ghost joystick and pedals right now for a simulator or whatever you want to use it for. Especially if you've never built anything before, this is perfect project for your first time build because it's the fundamentals of everything in order to build whatever you want. All you need is basically a soldering iron, a small microcontroller, and you could just cut up a USB-C cable and you could start building stuff. I provided all the documentation so even a beginner can build these pedals, this joystick. I mean, I've never built pedals and a joystick before this. So you can too. It's very simple, trust me. So either scan this QR code or go to the link in my description to download all the files and documentation and start building yours. It would really help me out because... All right, so I've made a purchase. I bought the H2S to complete this project. And as you know, I have the H2B, which is amazing. And I've also got like Obsidian 0.8mm nozzles for both of these. So now it should be double print times. This was one of those credit card purchases that I had to make, and I wish Bamboo Lab would actually reach out to me and hook me up with one, but instead I had to buy one. So, all right, let's get this going. And while battling health and time issues, look at the bright side.
This is the first piece.
So whether you decide to build your own Ghost joystick and pedals or just subscribe to my channel, it really means a lot because it's just me with a passion to make cool products for you.